Hey everybody, my name is Jake and I'm one half of Years to Burn, a synth pop duo based out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and this is our studio tour. One of the first things you see in the studio when you walk in is these shelves that I put up. I just made them out of a couple pieces of plywood, and then I installed some lights at the bottom to hold some of our stuff here. And I guess we'll go over some of our stuff. We'll just go from the top here. So the top is a Neurotypes tour poster from 2023, and that's pretty cool because we put that on in Brockville and we got to play with them with Salem, Mars, and Preloved. So that was pretty dope. It was one of the first times we played as Years to Burn. Over here is some cassette tapes that we found at a thrift store. We plan on like recording some of our music onto it, and we got a bunch of them in storage too. But yeah, here's the sign. Janessa's sister got this, I think for her birthday or for Christmas or for my birthday. Honestly, I don't even remember what it was for and where it was from, but it's pretty cool. We might put that on like the merch table, you know, when we sell merch, put that on there and plug it in. But yeah, there's some vinyls here. We kind of like to change these out every now and then. And over here we have a Polaroid. Actually, there's two of them, and there's one more downstairs. But what's cool about these is that we use these for our artwork for our music. So in this book contains a lot of Polaroids that we've had, and in there are the originals of the artwork that we use for our music, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, we just take pictures of them and then we scan them, and that's it. Okay, and over here there are just some old vintage lenses that I've been collecting. I really like to shoot on my Sony a6400, but we're using these vintage lenses for video and photos, but mainly photos. And here is our massive collection of guitar pedals, with my prized possession being the Tone Bender Mark II, which I got for $2 at a thrift store. Hella cool find. And here is a piece of wood that looks like a whale, another little vinyl, and a rock. Yeah, so that's the shelf there. Riveting stuff, I know. Okay, now moving on from there, let's look at this drawer over here. So this was actually a old vinyl drawer where you store vinyls and stuff like that, which is actually kind of what we use it for. We have a couple vinyls here. But yeah, we keep like a lot of other things in here, like just miscellaneous stuff. I don't know. Camera equipment, an extra lens, and then there's also an extra microphones and stuff and wires, and these two controllers. So this is a Launch Control XL from Novation, which is a great controller. Bring this out quite a lot, but I don't quite do the same for this. I mean, it was cool. I used it a lot at the time, but I don't use it much anymore, so it kind of just stays in the drawer. Quick thing I'll mention about this bouquet though is that this is actually the same bouquet that was for a music video for Home Is Not a Place, which nobody has seen because I've never finished. But yeah, this was over half a year ago, and this is what the bouquet looks like now. Okay, so moving on to the computer station. Quickly, I'll just mention the desk. This is just a desk from IKEA. It's not like a fancy desk or anything, but I don't know. I really like it because I can put a controller down right there because there's a lot of space. Anyways, we'll move on to the monitors here. So these are the KRK Rocket 8s. I got these when I didn't really know anything about music production. I just thought, oh, I should get these because I see them on a lot of videos and stuff. But I mean, they're pretty cool for listening to music, but I wouldn't say that they're the greatest like monitors, but I don't know. They served me well for the 8 or 9 years that I had them. But on the desk here, we have an Apollo Twin Mark II, and just below that, we have a MIDI Fighter 3D by DJ Tech Tools, and our main vocal microphone is the Shure SM7B. So as for the software, the DAW that we run is Ableton Live 12 right now, and I've been running Ableton for about 10 or so-ish years, so I'm pretty familiar with it. For the plugins, maybe this will be for another video. It could be cool to go over all the plugins that we have and the audio chains that we use. For the computer, we're running an Apple M1 Pro 16-inch from 2021. I don't know how to say that properly, but whatever. It's a good computer. It does everything I need. I don't think I'm gonna have to upgrade for another couple years, and that's pretty good from coming from 2021. But yeah, pretty good computer. But we'll move on to the audio rack that's just behind over here. So tucked away back here is our audio rack. This is how I connect all my synths to the computer, but it's also used for our live shows. So at the top there, we have two Sennheiser in-ear monitoring systems. Below that is a iConnectivity 1U, and I got that paired through like an aggregate device to these two Audio 4C1i. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, then below that is just like a power conditioner and like a USB hub, and those are more USB hubs all connected. I gotta figure out a better system for this, but at the bottom I want to put in a drawer so I can store some of our wires in there when we take this out for shows. But yeah, that's basically what this rack is. And moving on from that, let's talk about the instruments. Before I do that, I'll just quickly mention the stand. That's a K&M Spider stand, and how I have it orientated. I have a poly synth on the bottom and a mono synth on top. I know technically it's not a mono synth, but I kind of use it that way. But anyways, that's the stand, and let's talk about the synths themselves. For the top synth, this is the Moog Subsequent 37, so I use this for the leads and the bass. And below that is the Prophet Rev 2, and that's my poly synth that I have here. So these two, they match, which is pretty cool, like with the wooden sides. But over here is the APC 40 Mark II. So I just use this to launch clips, and I'll record some loops. So if I'm playing with the synths, I'll record it in using that, and I'll also use it to control the reverb sends and the delays and stuff. But yeah, I don't use it for live, mainly just in the studio. And I don't know, it just feels good to have this set up this way, where I have the synths here and then I have my controller so I can play and stop everything that I need without having to go to the computer, which is really nice. But yeah, that's basically what this whole setup is. And on this end, at the top is the Moog Matriarch, and at the bottom is a Roland Juno-X. So just to the left of that, we have our guitar rack thing that I made out of this live wood edge thing. Lots of things. So there's a mount there, and right now we just have my bass up there, and over here is a banjo that we don't use. It's just kind of here because we don't know where else to put it. And normally the light kind of stays there anyway, so it kind of covers it up. But yeah, the main idea of this was that there was supposed to be 3 guitars that we would have hanging there, but because I got these synths in that stand, it kind of sticks out too much, and you can't really put it there anymore. So whatever, we just use it for the one right now, and then the light usually goes here. But yeah, this is what it normally looks like. We kind of just keep this light here. But actually the light itself is a Aperture P300C, I believe. But yeah, I got this on Facebook Marketplace for a pretty good deal too. So I use these for YouTube and other videos and stuff like that. But we also use it for live. So this is one of the big lights that we have to like wash the entire stage. Not too often, but when we have our own shows, we like to sync up the lights. But yeah, that's what that is. But yeah, because that light is there, we can't put up these guitars. So this is Janessa's Seagull. It's an acoustic electric guitar, which she just got like a little while ago. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Got to play with it live a couple times. And back here is another guitar. So this is her old acoustic only guitar that is just sitting in the back. But yeah, eventually we want to put them up here. Okay, another thing I'll mention quick, random thing, is a humidifier. It gets really dry here in the winter, so it really helps with the guitars and stuff. As for the acoustic treatment, I built these panels here out of some wood and rock wool insulation with some fabric. And I'm not saying that this is like an entirely acoustically treated room, but these definitely do help a lot with the reflections. I just got to put some on the ceiling hanging down from there. But yeah, that's the acoustic treatment that we have. But yeah, for most of the time though, when I'm just hanging out in here playing with the synths or whatever and I'm not on the computer, I usually just take off that panel because there's a window behind there just to get some sunlight in here. That's the studio tour, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.